I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
Really, is there anything else you need to know? She is now the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee. I am Dan O'Donnell. I am a white male. My pronouns are he, him. I am on the Dano Cam wearing a white shirt. Welcome to another busy broadcast week. And let's face it, when we've said busy broadcast weeks in the past, a phrase that we adopted from the late great Rush Limbaugh, some were busier than others. These past 2 weeks about the busiest of my career, possibly the busiest news weeks of the past 2 decades, if not longer. If you would like to join us on this foray into, again, another phrase borrowed from Rush Limbaugh, broadcast excellence, only he achieved it. We strive for broadcast competence. Maybe 3 out of 5 times we succeed in a given week. The AdventNews.com talk and text line is always open. 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. You can watch this show streaming live on X, on Facebook, and on our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. To celebrate Kamala Harris finally getting the recognition she deserves, finally getting the opportunity that millions of Democrat voters denied her. She never even got a vote in the Democratic primary, but amazingly, she is handed yet another opportunity. We are going to look back at some of her greatest hits as vice president. When I say she is Vice President Veep, I mean it. She is the embodiment. We have been making this a constant theme here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. She is the embodiment of Selena Meyer, the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character from Veep. And folks, someone, and I wish I know who, this is something that's been floating around social media. I wish I knew who put this together to give them the credit they deserve because it's hilarious. This is Kamala Harris mashed up with the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character from the HBO show, and you cannot tell the difference between the two.
My fellow Americans, words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
Well, we are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Obesity is a serious disease, and it needs to be taken seriously.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
I hope that clarifies the issue, and this can be the last word on those words.
Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right, and that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
Absolutely tremendous. The sizzling summer cash contest word this hour is credit. CREDIT. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website. Enter the keyword credit. If your entry is picked at random, you, sir or madam, will win $1,000 in cash instantly. To put that in a way that Kamala Harris would understand, when you have $1,000 in cash, you don't have $0 in cash. And cash is better than no cash. So $1,000 is better than $0. And that is the value of cash. All throughout the show, Kamala Harris's greatest hits also going on right now in Washington. We are going to be dipping in and out of this hearing in which the House Oversight Committee is absolutely planning to grill Kimberly Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service, for the obvious failings of the security details surrounding President Trump during his assassination attempt just a week ago. It's hard to believe all of the things that have happened since then. Trump was assassinated a week ago Saturday. On Monday, the Republican National Convention opened in Milwaukee. As the convention opened, as this show opened a week ago today at about 9 a.m., federal judge in Florida tosses out Trump's Mar-a-Lago documents case. There is no talk about possibly resurrecting it. That case is done. Trump accepts the nomination. Actually, later in the afternoon on Friday, he names J.D. Vance, the Ohio senator, as his running mate after 3 days of what is widely considered the single best political convention of either party. Folks, I don't think I can stress just how much the host committee in the city of Milwaukee, I'll give credit where it's due, Mayor Cavalier Johnson and all of his people put together. They all worked together to make Milwaukee as hospitable and welcoming a place as humanly possible. Of course, as soon as the convention is out of town, we have a mass shooting that kills one person and injures 9 at about 12:30 this morning. Believe it or not, it does not make a single newscast. It is almost remarkable. I dare say this might be the only show on which you hear about the fact that there was another mass shooting in Milwaukee. You had a person killed in a mass shooting, and it doesn't lead any of the newscasts, including ours. Interestingly enough, I did note that before we came on, we didn't even have this on. I have no idea why, but we didn't. That's not a critique. I don't know why we didn't leave. I was looking. You could not find a single mention of the mass shooting that happened at about 12:30 this morning in Milwaukee. You would think a mass shooting, since the left and the media is always hot to trot over mass shootings, when they're when they're perpetrated, when they occur in situations and scenarios and are perpetrated by people that they can use to politicize them, the only thing that you can politicize or point out is the abject failure of Democrat leadership. But nonetheless, we have a convention in Milwaukee that's widely considered to be the single best ever of either party. Donald Trump gives his acceptance speech. Okay, maybe he goes on a little bit too long, but it closes out a spectacular convention. 2 days after that, the President of the United States announces that he's not going to seek another term. This is the latest time, I do believe, in presidential history that a president has announced that he's going to not seek another term. Interestingly enough, this is going to be the first presidential election since 1976, nearly 50 years, without a Bush, a Clinton, or a Biden on the ticket. That is, unless, of course, part of Joe's negotiated settlement package is Jill Biden being picked as Kamala's running mate. Well, I think that is unlikely, to say the least. It's clear that the last couple of days of Biden's candidacy were spent negotiating a severance package. Now, I will point you to comments I made on Friday, both on this show and in an interview I did with Montreal's talk radio station, in which I said, here's how this is likely to play out. I don't believe Biden's candidacy survives the weekend. What they're going to want to do is take the wind out of the sails of Trump's convention, take the wind out of the sails of Trump appearing strong. You'll notice that you haven't seen in the last couple of days, and you are likely not going to see what I believe what will be the most censored image leading up to the presidential election. Do you know what it is? Trump with his fist in the air, defiant after the assassination attempt. My guess is that you will hear fewer and fewer and fewer mentions of Trump's assassination attempt. They're just going to move on like it never happened, because it was as tragic, a man lost his life, and as traumatizing as it was probably the biggest political boon to Trump's presidency. And in fact, he actually, I think, has delivered the line of the campaign thus far. What have have Democrats been saying about him? What has their lone argument been against Donald Trump? He's a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy, right? Listen to how Trump just turned that on its head on Saturday.
And they keep saying he's a threat to democracy. I'm saying, what the hell did I do for democracy? Last week I took a bullet for democracy. What did I do against democracy? Crazy.
That's it. In one line, that takes out Democrats' entire argument. I'm a threat to democracy. I took a bullet for democracy. Boom, done, argument over. How could he possibly be a threat to democracy? His Secret Service failed him so badly, and we assume that it was a massive lapse in security. I am open to the possibility that, while I do not believe anybody actively plotted within the Secret Service or anybody else, anyone actively plotted to have Trump killed, I don't think they worked nearly as hard as they could have to stop it. The Washington Post has now confirmed, as we've been reporting for quite some time, in connection with our reporting on the beef between the Secret Service and the Republican National Convention in the weeks leading up to the RNC. The host committee was saying, look, you cannot put the psychopath protesters as close as the Secret Service wanted to the secure zone. You just can't do it. Eventually, they put the protest zone in a different area, which, of course, the protesters completely ignored, and had their little 300, 400 person underwhelming march right outside the gates, as was negotiated a couple of days before the convention. But we were reporting that Trump himself was asking repeatedly for more Secret Service protection, for more security detail around him. RFK Jr., one of the most notable third-party candidates in the presidential race, probably since Ross Perot, and certainly someone who is polling much higher than other recent third-party candidates like Jill Stein, he was asking for Secret Service protection. He never got it until Trump was very nearly murdered on live television. The Secret Service, while I don't believe was engaged in conspiracy, I do believe the level of incompetence was just so massive that there were decisions made by the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees the Secret Service, to maybe not give Trump all of the security that he asked for. Washington Post just confirmed that. But I did make a prediction on Friday. And because I know the news cycle, because I know how these things work, because I've been doing this since I was 19 years old, I'm now 23. Plus an additional 2 decades, but you get my drift. I've been doing this for a long time, very nearly a quarter century. I understand how news cycles work. When it became obvious that Biden just was not going to be able to continue, when the Democrats, much like Republicans did, when they marched over to the White House in 1974 and told Richard Nixon, it's over, we can't support you, we're not going to vote to acquit you, you are going to be impeached, and the Senate is going to vote to remove you from office, he knew it was over. When all of his allies turned on him, just like they did in this past week's behind-the-scenes mutiny, first leaking out a Zoom call that Biden had when he was insulting a Gold Star Democrat congressman named Jason Crow, and you had these little dribs and drabs of the call come out in which Democrats were saying this was even worse than the debate. The guy was angry, he was confused, he was marginally coherent. This was leaked out because they were unable to convince Biden to drop out of the race. Then Chuck Schumer leaked out the fact that he called on Biden to drop out of the race, and then the biggest hammer of all to fall, Barack Obama leaked out that he called Biden to drop out of the race. By Thursday, by about midday Thursday, in fact, just as we were wrapping up the Dan O'Donnell show, about 10:30 a.m., big breaking Axios.com story. The fundraising had dried up. The donors had spoken. Obama, of all people, was now throwing his support behind anyone else to run the Biden campaign, to run for president. It was over. It was done. And I predicted on this show that what's going to happen to take the focus away from Trump's convention and to try to just push the entire assassination attempt business out of the news cycle, it was going to happen on Sunday. That midday Sunday, probably late morning, maybe early afternoon. Why? To avoid all of the Sunday talk shows, so that this would be the agenda for the entire week. It wouldn't be like old news by the time the Sunday talk shows hit, so you can't do it on Saturday. On Sunday, I said there was going to be a news release, there was going to be word leak out that it was confirmed Joe Biden was dropping out of the race, and then there would be an address to the nation Sunday night. The only part I got wrong was that Joe Biden clearly was not of sound enough mind to address the nation on Sunday night. And the best joke that I've seen floating around social media is, man, Biden is going to be pissed when he wakes up tomorrow and realizes what he did today. It is remarkable. Biden actually put out this statement on X, a platform that he has repeatedly said under Elon Musk's leadership is only for white supremacists and Christian nationalist terrorists. And there's all sorts of racism and anti-Semitism that's allowed to run wild. He uses X. What also stuck out to me is two things. One, he used his own personal letterhead, or at least whoever crafted the statement for him did, not official White House letterhead. And two, he mentions the Democrat Party before he mentions the country, leading to the rather obvious conclusion that we have been drawing for the past 3 weeks. If Biden is so mentally incapacitated that he can't run for president, how can he possibly be president? This really shows where Democrats' priorities are, as they only care about winning the next election and not how the country is actually governed. It's not, as some have suggested, well, this takes the campaigning off his plate, and damn, this is really just about winning. Biden doesn't give them a good chance to win. And really, yes, he can currently do the job, but no, he might not be able to do the job 4 years from now. Okay. But the entire reason that he was replaced on the ticket was because he was mentally diminished, right? So mentally diminished that Trump would walk all over him in a debate. What happens if he has to stand up to Vladimir Putin? What happens if Xi Jinping decides that this is a great time to retake some of those territories that have declared their own independence from China, but China still believes are part of them? What happens if if Biden needs to make that phone call? Well, it better happen between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Here's the other thing. In order to convince Biden to drop out of the race, there have been leaks coming from his own White House in which his own staffers were et tu bruteing him, knifing him in the back by leaking out just how diminished he was. And the big revelation over the past 3 weeks is he's only really good between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. So you get 6 hours of a presidency? You talk about a part-time presidency, 6 hours per day. You get a quarter of the day when this guy is actually sharp enough to be able to do the toughest job in the entire world. Now, who would have guessed? This is essentially the swan song of 50 plus years, 52 years. Biden has been in federal public office. He was elected senator in 1972. Who would have guessed that the single most significant moment of his entire political career would be this video he posted on X?
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
That was it. The moment that changed his life. The moment that changed history. More on that coming up when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show.
More of the show next.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center. See orthowisconsin.com.
Big savings are here, thanks to Senator Dan Fine. He helped cut property taxes by $11 billion, making home ownership more affordable. That's not all. His efforts slashed income and franchise taxes by nearly $17 billion. Call 608-266-5300 and thank Senator Fine for keeping your money where it belongs, in your wallet. Remember, when your money's on the line, you can count on Senator Dan Fine. Paid for by the Wisconsin Realtors Advocacy Fund.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
It's Wisconsin Adopt a Plant Month at Prospect Hill Garden Center.
Adopt a perennial. They're bright, colorful, hardy, and healthy. Easy to grow and care for with blooms that last long. And no one shrugs about our shrubs.
Prospect Hill Garden Center in New Berlin, bloomsite.com.
Here's why. Money. Warshevsky.
So I just want to know, was it okay for Morning Joe to be on the air today? Was MSNBC too worried that they would say something like racist about Kamala Harris and they decided to just stay in breaking news coverage because they couldn't risk Morning Joe saying something nuts? What you are going to see in the media, ladies and gentlemen, is the single greatest turn I think you have ever seen. Because for several years, we've been hearing about how Kamala's not quite ready for prime time. There was reporting about how she had massive staff turnover, right? Which invariably signals somebody who is nearly impossible to work for. We have heard about her many word salads, and yes, we are going to have some of Kamala's greatest hits from throughout the year. Some of these I totally forgot. And ladies and gentlemen, they are absolutely hilarious. I'm telling you, she is Vice President Veep. She is Selena Meyer, Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character from the excellent HBO satire Veep. If you have Max, if you can stream the show anywhere, just like how everybody is rushing out to buy Hillbilly Elegy after Producer Dave bought it. Amazon Prime he got it. He got it on Prime Day for $7. Everybody's rushing out to watch Hillbilly Elegy on Netflix, which I believe was briefly the #1 movie on Netflix. Everybody's rushing out to buy Hillbilly Elegy, the book, to kind of better know who this potential future vice president is. In order to better know Kamala Harris, you have got to watch the show Veep. It mirrors her life almost perfectly. In the show, she's picked as vice president, even though she is woefully unqualified. She's a political lightweight who constantly says just the most hilariously inept non sequiturs. And then in the show, I believe the president dies very suddenly and she's elevated to president. Now, of course, Joe Biden hasn't died, only his career has. But now Kamala Harris just has to convince the Democratic voters who thought she was so terrible and the Democratic donors who thought she was so terrible in 2020 that she didn't even make it to the Iowa caucuses. But folks, perhaps we have been a little too hard on Kamala Harris because occasionally, and this is what the media is going to focus on nonstop for the next 4 months, she is eloquent. Every so often, everything comes together for her in a speech, and she can say some of the most profound things that you have ever heard a politician say. Just listen to this.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be unburdened by who we have been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. That can be unburdened by what has been.
There are those who are unable to see what can be, but there are many more who are able to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic Party's presumptive nominee, Kamala Harris. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back in just a second.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Dan O'Donnell for the Lynch family of dealerships, letting you know about the Lynch tent sales event. Summer has finally arrived, and that means it's time to get your vehicle ready for that annual road trip up north, or maybe you're heading out to your favorite county fair or concert. You can always trust the Lynch Service Department with their convenience convenient hours to get your vehicle safe and ready for the road. But maybe your current ride needs a little more TLC than usual. Maybe it's time to visit the showroom and receive a $2,500 trade assist on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair trade-in value for your current car. It's the Lynch Tent Sales Event all month long with hundreds of vehicles priced aggressively to sell and a $2,500 trade assistance on top of Kelley Blue Book Fair value. The deals are heating up at Lynch. Take that road trip up north in the comfort of a new or Lynch certified car, truck, or SUV. The Lynch Tent Sales Event happening all month long. Visit a showroom today or visit shoplynch.com.
This is David Bellman with Bellman Homes, and I can show you how you can save over $312 a month and 60 hours a year buying a Pebblebrook Hollow Bellman home in the village of Waukesha compared to a similarly priced home in the city.
Bellman Homes.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Whether it was from a burn, heat, water, or a candle wax spill, if you have a great piece of wood furniture that has a damaged top, don't worry, because if we have to, we can refinish tops only. Other places may say you need to refinish the whole piece, but we can do better than that. So don't let your great piece go to waste. If it's just the top you need refinished, or for jobs of any size, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. He was told it would cost him $1,000 to refinish his chair. But when it was done, he'd be able to sell it for at least twice that. Only to find out that he paid more to refinish the chair than it was actually worth. You gotta watch out for dishonest people out there. But not over here. With over 50 years of experience, we'll give you a good idea of the value of your piece and whether it's worth refinishing. So for honest answers, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
Solving your breathing triangle problem can lead to better sleep and a better quality of life. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
The doctor's office that mixed up your files has your Social Security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info and last 3 addresses. Your info is in endless places that could accidentally expose your info to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
The Medal of Honor is the highest military decoration in the United States. Since it was established in 1861, there have been 3,517 people awarded with the medal. I'm Malcolm Gladwell, and our new podcast from Pushkin Industries and iHeartMedia is about those heroes. Listen to Medal of Honor, Stories of Courage on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Medal of Honor, Stories of Courage.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
Top of the morning to you.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Top of the morning to you.
Here, you giving us the house, man?
Kamala, when it comes to being a talk radio host, is a gift. She is an absolute gift. When it comes to producing sound bites that we can have some fun with, she has had some absolute Hall of Fame bangers for the duration of the Dan O'Donnell Show. And I suspect for the duration of this busy broadcast week, we will be bringing you some of the absolute best things Kamala has ever said. How about this one? From April of 2022. Explaining Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
Basically, I mean, that's wrong. Not optimal. The bigger country invades the smaller country. More of Kamala's greatest hits coming up. We're going to pivot very quickly because Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan is now questioning Kimberly Cheatle, the director of the Secret Service, and I want to make sure we hear some of this.
Took the shot that took out the bad guy.
Yes, I have.
And can you tell us about that conversation?
I would not want to reveal conversations that I've had with my employees.
But that's exactly the kind of information the American people want to know. American people who pay your salary.
I understand this is an ongoing investigation. And
Who's all doing the investigating at Secret Service? I know the Inspector General, but is there also an internal investigation in addition to the Inspector General?
We are conducting a mission assurance investigation internally, yes.
You know what it looks like, Director? It looks like you won't answer some pretty basic questions. It looks like you got a 9% raise and you cut corners when it came to protecting one of the most important individuals, most well-known individuals on the planet. A former president, likely the guy who's going to be the next president. Looks like you guys were cutting corners. That's what it looks like to me. Is that true?
I am here today because I want to answer questions, but I also want to be cautious.
You might want to, but you haven't answered, I don't think you've answered one question from the chairman, the ranking member, or me. Well, we got a lot of other people asking. We'll see if your record improves. But right now, you haven't answered, I don't think, any questions. I yield back.
Gentlemen. Wow. We will try to get some longer excerpts of Jim Jordan, who is always Ted Cruz, Matt Gaetz is actually very good at questioning hostile witnesses during these hearings as well. I do think Jim Jordan right now is the GOAT of questioning hostile witnesses. There's no question. The Secret Service under Kim Cheatle is an abomination. And in fact, her excuse, we didn't have a sniper on that roof because it was a sloped roof. It's so ridiculous. She would have been better off just not answering that question. Just saying, look, we're not going to talk about Secret Service methods because this is highly confidential. We don't want future bad guys knowing how we do things. Well, it was a sloped roof and we were worried that a Secret Service agent could fall off. How exactly is it? And what we've learned over the last couple of days is that a local police sniper first shot at the scumbag on the roof, but missed. They knew he was doing something. He got a ladder, for goodness sakes, onto that building. He was able to climb up holding a rifle. And for several minutes, you had people in the crowd, the supposed MAGA idiots who don't know their you-know-what from a hole in the ground, according to the mainstream media, pointing out, look, this guy's on the roof. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. Please, somebody do something. You don't have a single Secret Service agent there ready to take him out. And it's not as though there were buildings all over the place and, oh my goodness, we just forgot one. It was just impossible. He's like, let's say in downtown Milwaukee. Let's say Trump was talking. He goes to the heart of downtown. He goes to the Summerfest grounds. Great job, producer Dave. The Welcome Delegates party, red, white, and brew party they had on Sunday night. Let's say Trump makes a surprise appearance and he's speaking. There are all sorts of buildings from which somebody could take a shot at him, and the Secret Service would have a devil of a time accounting for every single rooftop, every single vantage point. This was the only building there. This was the only building anywhere near. How it is unconscionable unconscionable. The failure is almost unthinkable that they wouldn't have that building secured. And this is why this is leading to all of these conspiracy theories that somehow this was an inside job. I saw Joe Rogan a couple of days ago basically raise that possibility, like this is how the CIA does it, just like they did it. It's hard to argue that this looks very much like the JFK assassination. You have some buffoon with a mail order rifle perch himself somewhere up, take a shot at the president's head, and then before he can say anything, he's killed. Those conspiracy theories have now existed, and I believe more than 50% of people believe that the JFK assassination was an inside job. It was a conspiracy. I believe the big conspiracy was to cover up just how inept the Secret Service was back then. But once again, you've got almost the exact same thing. Local buffoon gets a rifle, apparently takes it from his parents, goes to a building and tries to shoot the president's head. Comes within 3 millimeters of succeeding, altering the course of history. It's the exact same thing. So you can see, because this woman is refusing to answer any questions, because the level of failure is so great. Look, I always say never chalk up to malevolence and evil when it comes to government what can instead be better explained by incompetence and sheer stupidity. But this is just beyond even the limits of my ability to say, well, these people are just incompetent. Again, I don't believe they tried to have Trump killed. I do believe they didn't think it was a huge tragedy if Trump was killed, as evidenced by the fact that this woman, knowing full well that Trump is about the biggest assassination target there is, even though they pretend to themselves that Christian nationalists and rabid right-wingers are the biggest threat to America and have been even before January 6th, the biggest threat is lone left-wing psychopaths, from the trans gunman down in Tennessee to the shooter in Louisville just a couple of weeks later to now this guy. And isn't it funny how the media is just totally not curious about anything? Have we learned anything about this shooter? Even though I make it a point, and I will never again say his name on the Dan O'Donnell Show unless there is a legitimate news interest to do so, because I don't want to give him the immortality that he craves. And that's ultimately, I think, the psychological thing that drives all of these people. They desire to be somebody. They desire to be remembered for an unspeakable act of evil. But isn't it weird how the media instantly dives into the background of every single mass shooter? The Buffalo gunman, remember that one? The black church shooting in Charleston from years ago. We know everything about them, everything about their political ideology. All we know about this guy is that he registered as a Republican in 2021. Oh, really? The second he turned 18, he registered as a Republican. And you don't suppose in a young man's life there could be anything that would radicalize him. I don't doubt for a second his parents are probably Republicans. Isn't it weird? We have no parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles or friends on the nightly news talking about, he got really weird. He was all over Reddit. He was posting left-wing stuff. He decided to become a communist. Isn't it weird? Also, we have a class picture with him looking like, admittedly, a very, very ugly Republican who looks like he has water on the brain, but he looks like a young conservative. He grew his hair out long. He looked like your average LARPing Hamas protester. Every Antifa radical you've ever seen, this guy looked like him. We don't get a new picture of him because they don't want to admit what is patently obvious. This guy is not a Republican. He probably registered as one to vote in a primary to appease mom and dad. And then he grows up a little more and he gets just like a whole lot of left-wingers do. He gets radicalized by this idea that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, and he tries to end that threat. Isn't it weird, though, how we have no info into his background? We have we still don't know a motive. Oh, boy, we cracked that phone, but we have no idea what's inside. What you're going to find out, and it's going to be years later, it's probably going to be leaked by some whistleblower to some conservative news outlet, that this guy was, in fact, a radical Antifa-loving goon who openly talked on social media about wanting to kill Donald Trump. All right. I'm going to allow my blood pressure to go down because this is quite possibly the single biggest failure of any government agency of the past decade. And I don't believe it was entirely motivated by just incompetence. I don't believe that they wanted to protect this man, that they were willing to accept if someone got up close and punched him in the face, they'd be at least okay with that because they would see it as him getting his comeuppance. Did they want him to die? No. Did they ultimately really care about protecting him from death? Also, based on what they've done, denying added security when they knew it was necessary? Yes, I do believe that is the case. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show, classical conservatism, contemporary style. Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass. Now, with 6 locations to serve you, you hear me talk about how great Mander is, their work ethic, their customer service. Here's customer Hank. Took my Corvette in for a new windshield with camera in the glass. Their tech knew everything and did a great job. Everyone there was friendly and helpful. I loved the modern and very neat waiting area. Thank you, guys. Finally, even the bathroom was very clean. This is a very professional family-run business. When I need any more work done, I'm coming here. Peter, you're the best. He even brought this old man an armchair so I could sit and work on my laptop. The receptionist was very quick to say hello and knew everything about my job. Thank you. No, thank you, Hank, for reminding me and everyone about the Mander difference. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. That's mandercollision.com.
I'm Mike Thurston, candidate for Waukesha County District Attorney, managing Waukesha's Sensitive Crimes Unit, the most difficult to prosecute criminal cases with 0 case backlog. Police officers as witnesses and video evidence make drug crimes the easiest to prosecute. My opponent has a 103 case backlog involving the biggest drug dealers, not users, dealers.
I don't have the time to do the cases. Drug dealers, they don't have jobs. Their jobs are dealing drugs. And the good ones don't use because they can make more profit. So what do we do then? So we give them electronic monitoring and they go in their house and they pretty much can just be there all day. They can watch videos, they can play games. The only thing that changes in their life is they have to have someone trip down to Milwaukee to pick up the drugs and bring them back to the residence where they can continue to sell. That's accountability. No, it's not.
I'll make the time. Improving process so all Waukesha County District Attorney prosecutors can efficiently prosecute crime. Vote True Conservative Mike Thurston. I'm Mike Thurston. I approve this message paid for by Mike Thurston for DA.
So when it comes to replacement windows and doors, to me, for the highest quality and best value, it's Marvin. The Marvin family of brands consists of a couple product divisions, and you'll find the area's largest selection of Marvin products here at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Every Marvin window and door is built around you, made to order one at a time. I love that because it keeps quality control high and makes all of your customization needs for your home a lot easier. Integrity windows and doors from Marvin are made with a revolutionary fiberglass material called Ultrex that outlasts and outperforms the competition on nearly every measurable scale. Marvin has always joined the highest quality craftsmanship with more sizes, shapes, and options than any other brand. And it's why for over 50 years, Marvin has been our lead brand. This is David Wilhelm. For the area's largest selection of Marvin replacement windows and doors, your clear choice for more is Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously. At Hims, we know it's always better to be ready. And the best way to be ready anytime is to go to hims.com today. Because when you go to hims.com/radio, you'll find doctor-trusted ED treatments for less. with the same active ingredient as Cialis. Available in daily pills or chews, Hims gives you that boost of confidence, knowing you can be ready whenever the mood strikes. To connect with a licensed medical provider, just go to hims.com. No in-person appointments or awkward conversations required. If prescription medication is right for you, it'll be shipped to your door for free. Starting at less than $2 a day, you can get an ED treatment prescribed 100% online, all for a fraction of the price of name brands. Get your confidence back with Hims. Get started with a free 100% online consultation today at hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
The final countdown begins. Team USA is headed to Paris, and iHeartRadio is the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics. It's the only way to listen to exclusive NBC play-by-play action of the games, plus NBC's top Olympic moments and live hourly updates from Paris. Bring the Summer Games with you everywhere you go. Download the free iHeart app now and enable push notifications for live updates from Paris. Only on iHeartRadio, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth, the sort of truth the rest of the media ignores or actively covers up, such as Biden's obvious infirmity. This is the big question that Kamala Harris is going to have to answer. You clearly knew he was in decline. Why did you lie to the American people for months, if not years? And in fact, coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, November of last year, she was asked point blank, A, has President Biden slipped? And B, after she said, no, obviously not, would you ever tell the American people, would you see it as your duty to them, even if all the president's men were trying to cover up President Biden's decline in acuity, would you be the brave truth teller and say something? You won't want to miss her answer and then compare it with especially the last 3 weeks where she's been saying President Biden is sharp, he is just fine. All of you people who are trying to suggest otherwise are liars. It is time now to know the difference between financial advisors. I have been dreading this segment possibly for the first time since we have had Dave Spano on, and it has been years. Why? I know what you're going to say, Dave. It is going to be 4 words that cost me $100 in a bet that we very publicly made. Just say them. I know you want to. I told you so. Go ahead. It's your time to gloat, sir.
I'm not going to gloat, but, J.D. Vance is a big crypto guy. So if you want to pay me that $100 that you owe me for me calling this more than a year ago, then you can go ahead and pay me crypto if you'll feel better that way. It was actually remarkable. You did call it. I said, look, I think they're going to try to. And what did I say? I said what they tried to do right up until the bitter end. I said they're going to lie. They're going to obfuscate. They're going to cover up. They're going to rely on their media advantage to never tell you about how infirm Biden is. But I think maybe when we record The Difference, our weekly podcast, Dave, we should switch roles. I'll give financial advice and you basically do the political prognostication because you're clearly good at it. Congratulations. I will pay happily. You called it. You win the bet.
Yeah, of course, I said, obviously the Democratic apparatus said, don't underestimate them. The back room, the media, the Hollywood, that was always going to come to the forefront, and it did. But what we can do when we talk in just an hour is talk about policy differences and not talk about the folks themselves. And there is certainly a difference between tariffs and immigration and economic growth and taxation her plan on taxation is certainly concerning. We'll talk about that later.
He is Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. What he's talking about, our talk later. We host a weekly podcast. It's called The Difference. It's the intersection of politics and economics, and you can hear it on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. Right now, you are listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Vice President Kamala Harris is set to campaign in Milwaukee tomorrow, but this time as a candidate for president. Harris had a trip to Wisconsin planned long before President Biden said yesterday he's not running again. Harris's office hasn't officially said if yesterday's announcement changes anything about tomorrow's visit, but a campaign aide told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel there are no changes planned yet. We could get some more answers about the rules for absentee voting in Wisconsin by the end of the day. The legislature's Joint Committee for Review of Administrative Rules will meet this morning to talk about the rules for absentee voting, as well as the rules for ballot challenges. Lawmakers are looking at the mandate from the Wisconsin Elections Commission for one set of rules for absentee voters this year. Absentee balloting will be a focus this fall, with both new absentee ballot witness envelopes and ballot drop boxes back in use. Secret Service admitted some security adjustments for former President Donald Trump were not provided ahead of the assassination attempt against him a week ago Saturday. On Sunday, the Secret Service acknowledged that in instances where the Secret Service didn't provide specific specialized units or resources, the agency made what they called modifications to ensure extra protection of Trump ahead of the assassination attempt. The Trump campaign has been asking for additional Secret Service resources since he left office in 2021. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard after sweeping a two-game weekend series from the Twins, the Brewers head to Chicago to start a series with the Cubs tonight. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A beautifully sunny Monday. Should see a high near 82, although cooler lakeside with a northeast and east breeze. Clear and mid-60s overnight tonight. Should be in the low to mid-80s tomorrow with rain and thunderstorms returning. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Don't miss up to 70% off select major appliances at the Lowe's Closeout event. But hurry, these deals are too good to last because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This is Dan O'Donnell for my friends at Bayview Shade and Blind, proudly serving Southeast Wisconsin for nearly 100 years. The mission and values of Bayview Shade and Blind have stayed the same: character, honesty, integrity, and the golden rule. It's how the company has been built, and that will never change. They offer a free personal in-home design consultation or invite you to visit one of their 2 galleries in Menominee Falls or Waukesha. Check them out at bayviewshade.com. Sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cabovers than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Window Nation can help you beat the heat in your home with its buy two, get two free offer on insulated, energy-efficient windows. 0 down, no interest payments for 2 years. Schedule your in-home estimate now. Call Window Nation, 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
When you've made the choice to buy the industry's best, Marvin Replacement Windows, find them at Wisconsin's largest Marvin window dealer. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Do you know you need a new roof? Of course you do. For award-winning service and a free consultation, visit Klaus Roofing Systems by BuckBuckley.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Cheer on the USA and listen to iHeartRadio, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
We are playing Kamala's greatest hits here on the Dan O'Donnell Show in honor and celebration of her ascendancy. Welcome back. It's the 10 o'clock hour. Yes, the passage of time is very quick on this show. We have a fast-moving show, and the passage of time is significant in that it's how time passes, especially for our children. Pass the time having a laugh at the expense of Vice President Veep, who just can't get enough of yellow school buses.
Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right? Just, there's something about and most of us, many of us went to school on the yellow school bus, right? And it's part of our experience growing up.
414-799-1130 is our AdventNews.com talk and text line. I would like to sprinkle in some calls and some texts throughout this hour. Your reactions to President Biden's unprecedented decision. It really is. I should say Jill Biden's unprecedented acquiescence is probably more like it to the night of the long knives that lasted about a week as Democrats really focused their efforts on getting Biden out of the race. Those efforts proved successful. Yesterday, midday, the press release goes out. About a half hour later, he endorses Vice President Harris. If you want to weigh in, our phone lines are open. They always are, but we really want to focus on getting some listener reaction. I know you've got stuff to say. 414-799-1130. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. You can watch the show streaming live on Facebook, on X, or on our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. Before we get to your calls, before we get to your texts, your tweets, all of your communiques, we want to give you $1,000. It's our sizzling summer cash contest. The word this hour, money. M-O-N-E-Y, money. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword money. Wisconsin Congressman Glenn Grothman is now questioning Kimberly Cheetle, the director of the FBI. And now, producer Dave, let's go to Capitol Hill. Glenn Grothman questioning the director of the Secret Service.
To the rough.
Again, sir, at this time, I'm unable to answer questions to provide clarity.
Have they cleaned the roof since the assassination attempt?
Have they cleaned the roof?
Right. Has anything been done to the roof? Is it just like it was, 10 days ago, or not? Has anything been done to the roof?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay. Were President Trump's normal agents normally assigned to him there that day?
Yes.
These were the same agents that were always there?
Yes, sir. The people that are assigned to his detail were working on that day.
Okay, there's stuff on the internet that says they were not there that day, but these are the same agents who are routinely there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we know which agents fired the shots that finally took down the potential assassin?
Yes, sir, I do.
Can you give us those names or the background of those agents?
I would not offer their name up in this setting, but it was one of our technical officers, our counter snipers.
Okay, so can we privately get those names, the committee?
I am certain that we can make names available privately.
Okay. Do we know where all the shots landed? First of all, how many shots did that potential assassin, how many shots came out of the rifle?
So again, I would hesitate to offer that information as the FBI is conducting an investigation.
All right, that is Kimberly Cheetle. She is the director of the Secret Service, talking with Glenn Grothman, Wisconsin Congressman. During today's hearing, we will continue to dip into and out of that hearing as we see fit, because this is a massive story. This is obviously something that needs further investigation. Of course, we will have all the audio sound bites, the highlights on tomorrow's Dan O'Donnell Show. It's just very difficult. We could either turn the entire show over to this hearing, but we do need to have reaction from you. We have got a text here from Tim, who writes, "Hey, Dan, it seems like pretty much all prominent Democrats who might have a chance at the White House have fallen in line behind Harris. The only notable exception that I have found so far is Hakeem Jeffries. Your thoughts?" I believe Jeffries is probably going to endorse Harris in his weekly press conference, which, if memory serves, is on Tuesday, but this is getting to be fait accompli, and I think the reason is rather obvious. In fact, Kamala Harris, her team has filed with the FEC basically a transfer of the Biden-Harris 2024 campaign to Harris Victory 2024. Now, what this allows them to do, Biden has something like $96 million in cash on hand. It takes a tremendous amount of money to run a presidential campaign. At this late hour, it would be nearly impossible for, I think, anyone else to mount a significant challenge to Trump, especially after Elon Musk pledged $45 million per month. Democrats have been crowing about the fact that 50-some million dollars has come in just in the, 21 hours since Kamala Harris was endorsed by Biden, and all of the Democrats started basically falling in line behind her. They're saying, oh my gosh, this proves how much Democrats love her. This proves how great her campaign is going to be. That's all well and good, but Trump is taking in money hand over fist right now. He's about to get a big polling bump from his convention, as candidates almost always do. And in order to essentially blunt that, Democrats need to be on the air quickly. They need to have a candidate. They knew Biden was never going to be the guy. This is why, by the way, as we had been speculating since the moment the debate was announced on June 27th, 2 months earlier than any other general election debate in presidential history, it made no sense unless this was always going to be Biden's final exam. If he passes the exam, he's allowed to keep running. If he doesn't, which he obviously didn't, he gets removed. It was as simple as that, and the timing was always going to be after the Republican convention. This is where we have a fresh slate. Okay, Trump is named his running mate. All of the hoopla surrounding this is over. And also, I think the ultimate black swan event, Trump's attempted assassination last weekend, really kicked this plan into high gear. Trump is seen now as a martyr. He has got the ultimate talking point against the one Democrat argument against him. He's a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy. Oh, yeah, really? I came within 2 millimeters of taking a bullet for democracy. I literally had a bullet graze my ear. I was very nearly murdered for democracy, yet I'm a threat to it. Give me a break. And I think Democrats realized that he was going to be far tougher to beat than ever before, which means they needed as well-funded a candidate as humanly possible. Biden couldn't continue, but Biden also legally couldn't transfer the campaign apparatus, all of the people on the ground, all of the efforts to get on the ballot, the signatures and all of that in all of the various states. Because remember, we don't have one presidential election in this country, okay? We have 51, the 50 states plus the District of Columbia, which gets 3 electoral votes. Every single one of those states has different rules for getting on a presidential ballot. This was why earlier in the year, the great threat to democracy, Donald Trump, was removed from the ballot in Colorado by a unilateral action from the Colorado Secretary of State, of course, unanimously reversed by the United States Supreme Court, because you can't just sort of decide, we don't like this guy, we're going to take him off the ballot. That is, say it with me, folks, anti-democratic. That is, in fact, the real threat to democracy. And by the way, what do you think all of those Democrat primary voters who are now totally disenfranchised, they cast their ballots for Joe Biden. Now there's been a bait and switch, and even though they promised an open and transparent process to pick a new nominee, it's clear that nominee is Kamala Harris, because she is the only one who can inherit Biden's $96 million war chest. She is the only one who is going to have an easier path getting on the ballot in key swing states like Michigan. There are going to be ballot challenges. If the Republican Party and the Trump campaign are at all competent, they're going to immediately challenge Harris's ballot placement to, at the very least, try to make it more difficult, that she's not just going to be coronated here. That, remember how difficult Democrats made it for the Green Party to get on the ballot here in Wisconsin in 2020. Ultimately, the candidate Howie Hawkins didn't. And that may have cost Trump Wisconsin and with it the presidential election. Now, it turns out, obviously, Arizona and Georgia were also in there. Nonetheless, ballot access is not the easiest thing. Hakeem Jeffries, to answer that question, I have no idea why he hasn't endorsed yet. I can imagine there may be some personal animosity, but when you've got, 7 of the 8 members of the squad already falling in line behind Kamala Harris after just on Friday, AOC doing a long live stream in which she said, look, we can only go with Joe Biden. None of these other candidates are realistic options. Like I said in the last hour, the turn is going to be, forget turning on a dime. This is going to be turning on a speck of dust. That's how quickly you're going to see the turn, not just from Democrats who are saying Kamala Harris is our candidate after saying only Biden can run, we will only support Joe Biden, but also the media in never, ever, ever again playing some of Kamala's greatest hits and just revealing Kamala to be the buffoon that she is, the buffoon that Democrats recognized her as and didn't have enough support behind her. Remember, she came into this race. I'll never forget this. Both Mark Belling and I independently came to the conclusion that the most likely nominee, this was in 2018, 2019, the most likely nominee for president in 2020 would be California Senator Kamala Harris. She ticks all of the boxes. She's from a big Democrat state. She's black, Indian, but let's not quibble. She is a woman. She seems to be well-spoken. They're going to turn her into the female Obama. Well, they couldn't. Democrat voters saw right through her. Now they're going to try again on a much bigger stage. We'll see what effect it has. But to answer your question, Tim, Hakeem Jeffries will endorse Kamala because they are all endorsing Kamala. Remember the old saying, Republicans fall in love with their nominee, Democrats fall in line. Dan in Fond du Lac, you're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What's going on, sir?
Dan, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, hey, just calling. I think you can draw a pretty good comparison from 2016 with Hillary Clinton. I think one of the main, I think there's many factors why she didn't get elected, but I think one of the main ones was her unlikability factor. And I think you could also make a fairly good argument that Kamala is much more unlikable than Hillary Clinton, just in a condescending way that she talks to people. And so I think that's going to be a huge hurdle for her. And on top of that, we have 4 years of Trump record also to back up his existence on the ballot. So I think that's going to play a big part. I just don't see a pathway where she collects more Democratic votes than Hillary Clinton did, and it's going to be interesting to watch how that plays out in the polls, because I think the polls are going to be a major factor in determining who their nominee is going to be. Unfortunately, it's not the electorate that's going to be deciding that. It's going to be the power brokers and the donors, and so it's just an interesting time to live in this process. So I just want to make that comment. I appreciate what you're talking about.
Well, the pleasure is all mine, sir. By the way, we do expect Kamala herself to speak at 10:30 this morning. I would imagine that we are going to get a feed of that, and I would like to take at least a portion of it live. But before we do, let's go to Bob in Greenfield. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What's going on, Bob?
Hi, Dan. It's actually Todd.
Todd.
No problem.
Excuse me.
That's okay. So I'm beside myself, and so are so many other people. I mean, regardless of how the media is going to back her, which they will, and the millions of dollars are going to come in, they have the candidate. It just proves that you don't have to qualify to be president. You're going to have all these people voting solely on the first black woman in there, and if they side with abortion or a woman's right to choose. So it's sad that it's still coming down to these situations where, it's basically killing unborn babies and things which will get people to the polls.
My brother in Christ, did you forget the Obama candidacy? This is how Democrats operate. This is how Democrats operate. It's always about demographics. It's always about what boxes you check. And yes, abortion is going to be a big issue. They're definitely trying to do that with the fear-mongering over Project 2025. Frankly, I think they've lost all credibility. They lied to us for years about whether or not the President of the United States was suffering from severe mental decline. What else are they lying about? Will it matter to independents? I don't know, Dave. Honestly, I don't know. I just know that this isn't like somebody like a J.D. Vance, who the vast majority of people don't know. Vice President Harris is very well known by the American electorate. And believe it or not, she is far more underwater in her favorability, unfavorability rankings than Trump. Now, do I think the coverage of her as a messianic figure from now until November 5th is going to drive those numbers up? Yes, of course I do. I understand how the media works, right? But I also know that there are deep-seated perceptions about Kamala Harris that are going to be very difficult to change, even for the indoctrinating press. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back with more conservative thought, not just talk.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Coming back to Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st, streaming live only on Hulu.
A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
Hey, pool season fanatics, your summer persona is calling. It's time for sun-soaked party scenes at MGM Grand, new luxury cabanas at Bellagio, and sandy beach living at Mandalay Bay. Show off your poolside, only with MGM Rewards. Visit MGMRewards.com for details.
Save big money in outdoor storage solutions now at Menards. Suncast sheds are perfect for storing toys, long-handled tools, and yard equipment. These sheds feature low-maintenance construction, easy assembly, and include a 10-year warranty. Save big money on Suncast storage sheds at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
It's the Racine County Fair, July 24th through the 28th in Union Grove, featuring live local music, fair food, kids activities, and carnival rides. Don't miss the truck and tractor pulls, combine derby, monster truck freestyle show, a rodeo, and everyone's favorite, the demolition derby. There is something for everyone at the Racine County Fair, under the stars, stripes, and summer nights. Visit RacineCountyFair.com.
Repairing sunken or uneven concrete can be easy, clean, and half the price of replacing your concrete. Contact Raise Right to fix your trip hazards, driveway, sidewalk, pool deck, and more. Concrete lifting holes are small and nearly invisible. Go to WeRaiseConcrete.com. Raise Right, the #1 concrete lifting, foundation repair, and waterproofing team for Wisconsin homeowners. WeRaiseConcrete.com. That's WeRaiseConcrete.com.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
As we continue to highlight some of Kamala Harris's greatest hits, did you know she loves Venn diagrams?
I'll tell you one of the things about me. So I'm kind of a nerd on certain levels about certain things. So here's one reveal. I love Venn diagrams. I love Venn diagrams. I'm telling you, whenever I'm facing like a conflict and I need to sort it out, give me a Venn diagram every day of the week, right?
She is a self-parody. I could not create a character to even do her justice. They came close. HBO, before Kamala Harris was even a thing, they did Veep, great Julia Louis-Dreyfus show that was basically Kamala before Kamala. Let's not forget all of her many failures on actual policy. Remember, she was the border czar. Never actually visited the southern border, never actually did anything. Remember, she went to go talk to South American countries about economic conditions and what the United States could do to make it so that so many people wouldn't want to leave. Not a word about border security, because, of course, the plan was also to get as many people into this country and put them on a pathway to voting or pathway to citizenship. I'm sorry, that just slipped out. They are most definitely not on a pathway to voting. Just a pathway to citizenship, which includes the right to vote. She utterly failed on that. I admit, I had forgotten about this. Did you know the Biden administration sent Kamala to Ukraine to try to defuse the situation with sanctions?
But if you believe Putin has made up his mind, what leverage do you really have? Why not put those sanctions in place now?
The purpose of the sanctions has always been and continues to be deterrence. But let's also recognize the unique nature of the sanctions that we have outlined. These are some of the greatest sanctions, if not the strongest, that we've ever issued. As I articulated yesterday, it is directed at institutions, in particular financial institutions and individuals, and it will exact absolute harm for the Russian economy and their government.
She was talking about the strong sanctions the U.S. would put on Russia if it dared to invade Ukraine. She was clear. She was concise. The very next day in February of 2022, after she issued that warning, Putin invaded Ukraine. Everything she has ever done in the Biden administration has been a complete and total failure. We are awaiting Kamala speaking for the first time since becoming the presumptive presidential nominee. And while it is possible that someone else could challenge her, I have heard Joe Manchin is being urged by... Do you know who is urging Joe Manchin to jump into the race? Joe Manchin is urging Joe Manchin to jump into the presidential race. And Joe Manchin wants everybody to know that people who are most definitely not just Joe Manchin want Joe Manchin in the presidential race. Joe Manchin is really, really, really good at letting people know what Joe Manchin should and should not do. While we wait for Kamala, who we do expect any minute now, we talk with Paul and Racine up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, Dan, a couple points I want to make. By the way, great job at the convention. Just wondering if you got a selfie with Mark Belling while you were there.
I did not. I never actually saw Mark. Mark was only there, I believe, on Thursday night, and he was there Tuesday too. And frankly, I'm not sure where he was sitting. I was with the Wisconsin delegation right in the front. I mean, I was 20 feet away from Trump and Vance. At some point, once things calm down here, I'm going to post all of the great pictures I got, make like a photo album or something. I could not believe how close I was. No, I did not get a selfie. I got a great picture of Scott Walker in a cheese head, though, that I'll have to post, or maybe hold over him as blackmail. I'm not exactly sure. What do you got for me, Paul?
I don't know how you could have missed Belling's big head, but regardless, when you look at Kamala Harris, you just outlined it, some of the things she's done in an executive position, and she's failed miserably. Not only has she failed miserably, but when you look at it, she ignored the border. And when you think about her as president having to sit down with Vladimir Putin, you can't tell me that they're not salivating at that opportunity to do that versus Donald Trump, who I've been amazed. I don't know about you, but I've just been amazed at how Trump, with all that he's got going on, has remained as composed and presidential and leadership-like as he has with everything. The indictments, the attempted assassination, it's been incredible to see. He's every bit the person that I thought before he got into politics, and even more so. The second point I wanted to make is, I can't believe that there are people like Paul Ryan who came out publicly and said he's not going to vote for Donald Trump. I would love for you to have him on and question him as to why. If he doesn't want to vote for him, that's fine, but keep it private. Don't sit there and be public about it.
I'm sorry, has Paul Ryan been relevant since 2018? I get what you're saying, and we can actually broaden this out, Paul, to the Never Trump movement. Ryan in particular. I know there is just residual hatred for Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan has not been a political figure in years, okay? Like, he left office in January of 2019, and I know he sits on the board of Fox News, but he has not been involved in politics and only rarely gives interviews. But to broaden that to the Never Trump movement, which is, frankly, I think they're all Democrats. The Bulwark, that website, the Lincoln Project, which for a long time employed an actual guy who is trying to groom young boys. They're just not relevant in the Republican Party anymore. And to that end, I just don't understand. Like, what does it matter who Rick Wilson tells you to vote for? What does it really matter? Mitt Romney. I did, however, see the single funniest thing of the entire possibly cycle. It was a New York Times editorial by none other than Aaron Sorkin. We always talk about how Democrats, they view politics through the fantasy that is the West Wing. Quite possibly the funniest op-ed I have ever read. We'll share it next, hopefully hear from Vice President Veep coming up here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage, so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Sick of all the homeowner headaches? Tired of being a landlord? Did you inherit a property? Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com. We are a local family business, A+ with the BBB. It will make you a fair as-is cash offer within 24 hours. No fees, just cash. MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
I was stuffed up. It was almost like someone put a clothespin over my nose. As an athlete, it did affect my performance. And as I got older, the congestion and poor sleep really took their toll.
Mike's a lifetime athlete. After hearing about Advent, he felt he could finally find a solution to his breathing triangle problems.
With my congestion, the kind of sleep I was getting wasn't allowing me to function the way I wanted to.
When your nose isn't working like it should be, it's going to negatively affect your sleep. And then you really can't be at your best at anything that you're doing.
It's been about 5 years since coming to Advent. And what balloon sinuplasty did for my quality of life, that step I took was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Balloon sinuplasty can help solve your breathing triangle problems, which will help you sleep better. And that's going to help you live a better quality of life.
Unlock your potential. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Quit apologizing.
Hi, I'm Paul M. Newberger, host of Covering the World in Christ with Paul M. Newberger, airing Saturdays at 5 p.m. right here on WISN. Now, I'll be the first to say we should apologize when we make a mistake. Far too many people of faith seem to be apologizing, though, for being who God made them to be and for holding Christian beliefs. Romans chapter 1 verse 16 states, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes." God wants us to live as people of faith, boldly and unapologetically. Want to learn how? I invite you to attend the first ever Savior Summit featuring keynote speaker Riley Gaines, July 23rd through the 25th at Concordia University, Wisconsin in Mequon. Visit csweetforchrist.com to learn more. When we understand God's desire for us and seize on his strength, we have no reason to apologize. Let's do so together and work to cover the world in Christ.
Do you remember that electric moment when you suddenly realized that she was the one?
The one you were going to love forever.
The one you'd been waiting your whole life to meet.
She is the one.
The one.
Now it's time to find the one engagement ring that sparkles like she does.
Come to Kessler's Diamonds. We have a collection of incredibly special diamond engagement rings called the One Collection.
You need one special engagement ring for the one woman you will ever love.
Kessler's Diamonds is the one jewelry store where you can find the One Collection.
And Kessler's is the one store that offers the world-famous, no excuses, no fine print, lifetime warranty on every diamond engagement ring we sell.
We have the freedom to do this for you because Kessler's Diamonds is the one diamond store owned by its employees.
The One Collection starts at just $550.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kessler's nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Is thinking about your mortality a tough subject? Do you believe that time is on your side? Hi, I'm Karen Ellen Becker, founder and senior wealth advisor for the Ellen Becker Investment Group. Talking about mortality can be a sensitive subject, but it is important if you want to protect your assets, minimize estate taxes, and preserve your loved ones' futures. You may think that estate planning is only for the wealthy, when in fact, it is for everybody. Estate planning gives you peace of mind, knowing that your assets and legacy will be protected and handled accordingly to your wishes after you are gone. If you are feeling overwhelmed and not sure where to start, or you need a review of your current estate plan, turn to EIG. Our advisors can explain the benefits of having a plan in place, introduce you to an estate planning attorney, and answer any concerns that you may have. EIG, we are advisors for real life.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
The final countdown begins. Team USA is headed to Paris, and iHeartRadio is the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics. It's the only way to listen to exclusive NBC play-by-play action of the games, plus NBC's top Olympic moments and live hourly updates from Paris. Bring the Summer Games with you everywhere you go. Download the free iHeart app now and enable push notifications for live updates from Paris. Only on iHeartRadio, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Joe is out, Kamala is in, and we here at the Dan O'Donnell Show are celebrating with a compilation of Kamala's greatest hits. Talking here about culture and the deep significance thereof.
Culture is it is a reflection of our moment and our time, right? And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment. And we should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy, because it comes in the morning.
What does that even mean? That was from July of 2023. It actually made headlines as people were quite puzzled. Culture comes in the morning? Like, I don't think so, Dave. Dave wants to know, do people write this for her? No, this is her going off script. This has got to be her going off script. This was in an interview setting, so I'd like to hope that she doesn't need a teleprompter for interviews. Apparently, Biden needed a teleprompter for cabinet meetings. Aaron Sorkin was the creator of The West Wing. It was a show that ran on NBC from 1999 to 2003 and perpetrated quite possibly the greatest injustices of television history at the Emmys when it beat The Sopranos every year because woke liberals, even 25 years ago, were salivating at the fictionalized version of a hyper-competent Democrat presidential administration. This was liberal catnip. I always talk about how millennial and younger liberals only have one frame of reference. They only have one pop culture icon from which to draw comparisons, and that's Harry Potter. They will always make comparisons to Harry Potter. What house various politicians will be. Trump, of course, is Lord Voldemort. Older millennial and Gen X and even older, some of the younger boomer liberals who watched The West Wing, they always compare current events to The West Wing, right? It is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious how they try to make it like the West Wing. Some editor at the New York Times decided that Sunday morning would be the perfect opportunity to make liberal West Wing fantasies come true. They enlist Aaron Sorkin, the creator of The West Wing, they enlist him to write an op-ed how he would script this moment. Now, this happened before Biden dropped out. This was published Sunday morning. Like culture to Kamala Harris, the New York Times, it comes in the morning. So this op-ed was posted early Sunday morning. How he would script this moment. Biden stepping aside, nobly passing the torch. Who would he have as the Democrats' nominee? Folks, I can't even begin to satirize this any better than Sorkin himself did. He writes, there's something the Democrats can do that would not just put a lump in people's throats with its appeal to stop Donald Trump at all costs unity, but with its originality and sense of sacrifice. So here's my pitch to the writers' room. The Democratic Party should pick a Republican. At their convention next month, the Democrats should nominate Mitt Romney. Wait, what? Nominating Romney would be putting our money where our mouth is, a clear and powerful demonstration that this election isn't about what our elections are usually about, but about stopping a deranged man from taking power. Surely Mr. Romney, who doesn't have to be introduced to voters, would peel off enough Republican votes to win, probably by a lot. The double haters would be turned into single haters, and the Nikki Haley voters would have somewhere to go. Ms. Haley, having disqualified herself when she endorsed the leader of an unsuccessful attempt to overthrow the government. Does Mr. Romney support abortion rights? No. Does he want to aggressively raise the minimum wage, bolster public education, strengthen unions, expand transgender rights, and enact progressive tax reform? Probably not. But is he a cartoon thug who did nothing but watch TV while the mob he assembled beat and used tasers on police officers? No. The choice is between Donald Trump and not Trump, and the not Trump candidate needs only one qualification: to win enough votes from a cross-section of Americans to close off the former president's electoral college path to power. Mitt Romney, the guy who Biden himself said would put black people back in chains. That's a direct quote. The same guy who they said killed a man's wife. The same guy who we had an entire news cycle about him putting the family dog on the roof during a road trip and how that was cruelty to animals. About the binders full of women. Remember that one? They were making it seem he had literal binders full, like he had a cabinet full of women he had kidnapped that he was going to, roll out and put into positions of power. That Mitt Romney, a debate moderator named Candy Crowley, threw her bloated corpse in front of Obama to protect him while being wrong, by the way, about what Obama actually said about the Benghazi attack that had happened just a couple of weeks earlier. That Mitt Romney, okay, Aaron, he does admit that his show was liberal wish fulfillment. He goes on, part of the wish fulfillment of the West Wing was that oratory can be persuasive. So Barack Obama could come forth at the Democratic convention next month in Chicago and remind us once again that there were not red states and blue states, but the United States, by full-throatedly endorsing his old rival. I'm not saying Aaron Sorkin has done way too many drugs in Hollywood over the past 30 years, but I'm having a really difficult time finishing that sentence. I actually do believe he has done way too many drugs in Hollywood over the past 30 years. Everybody hates this, and it was widely mocked before, of course, Biden did drop out, and the party most certainly did not move to nominate Mitt Romney. When we come back, Kamala herself was asked last November about what would happen if it became apparent that Biden could no longer govern. Would she tell the truth to the American people? You're not going to want to miss her answer, and it's coming up in just a second right here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm, Screen and Door. Here for you all year round. Lisbon Storm, Screen and Door.
Hi, this is David Wilhelm, and here I go again talking about Marvin Windows and Doors. It's our lead brand, so of course I'm going to tout Marvin Windows and Doors attributes. But when you take a look at the quality of the products that Marvin puts out, can you blame me? When it comes to exceptional efficiency and personalization, Marvin Windows are at the top of the list. Whether it's casement or awning style, single or double hung windows, advanced engineering and the highest quality construction make Marvin Windows incredibly durable, versatile, and easy to use. You can be assured Marvin Windows and Doors are built around you. And Lisbon Storm Screen and Door is one of Wisconsin's largest Marvin Window and Door dealers. For your best selection, choose your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair, where no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Looking for the perfect wedding gift? Give a gift card from By the Yard. For a limited time, you'll get a $25 gift card free with every $250 you spend on By the Yard gift cards. Get your gift cards at By the Yard's new showroom in Oconomowoc. Call now or visit bytheyard.net for details.
Now's a great time to get signed up for your exterior work, like siding and windows. Why put it off? The lines are shorter, and we'll be ready to take on your next project.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Dan Small here. Join me for the latest info on your favorite outdoor activities. Saturday morning at 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by Remy Battery, serving Milwaukee since 1931. RemyBattery.com.
Before you buy an annuity, or worse yet, a variable life insurance policy, give us a chance to tell you both sides of the story.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
Go to financialstrategiesinc.com.
If you or a loved one needs a personal injury attorney, ask around. Lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, insurance adjusters, refer Warshevsky because we achieve maximum judgments and settlements. Their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Many states don't allow newly built homeowners to move in until furnace ducts are sealed because sealing ducts saves energy. Even in brand new homes, Clean Living Environments will save you money for life. Get more out of your ducts, cleanlivingenvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Let's not forget that Democrats had ample time to avoid what is essentially a nightmare scenario playing out right now. Don't let the false bravado that now they have a candidate who's going to take down Trump fool you. This is unprecedented, and there's a reason it's unprecedented, because this sort of move signals a level of weakness and panic that does not win presidential elections. Democrats had a chance to avoid all of it by getting Joe Biden not to run last year. It was obvious that he was just as mentally incapacitated then as he is now. His, shall we say, power outages are more frequent now. But it was always apparent that, go back, circulating on social media a couple of days ago, and I haven't been able to find it, and I wanted to, was Biden's speech at the 2016 Democratic National Convention. He was fiery. He was passionate. He was clear. He was well-spoken. He was, in other words, everything that he isn't now. That was 7 years ago. 7 years to some people of an advanced age is, not much. Maybe some things physically start to go. You need a hip replacement or something like that. 7 years is an eternity. This is not the same human being. 8 years, I guess, almost exactly 8 years since the Democratic National Convention. It's not even the same person. And everybody knew it. In fact, Kamala Harris was actually asked last November if there was a problem with Biden mentally or medically or something. Would you tell the American people? You see him all the time. They apparently had weekly lunches. She was in cabinet meetings, which got less and less frequent. Would you tell the American people? She was asked.
But if there ever is a problem, do you think that you could go tell the American public?
Long pause.
Do you think in your role that you're in a position to do that?
Listen to that pause.
If necessary, but there's no need for that. There is a political argument that is being made that is not based on substance. And you're asking me to hypothesize around what are my duties to the American people as Vice President of the United States that are based on ethics and morals and the law. I will always follow those rules. But I am suggesting to you that it is important we not be seduced into one of the only arguments that that side of the aisle has right now on this issue in a way that is intended to distract from the accomplishments.
Yes, like record high inflation, unaffordability of pretty much everything, 10 million illegal immigrants flooding into this country, that out of control crime during the 3 years of the Biden administration being as bad as any 3 years since before the passage of the mid-1990s crime bill, the bad old days of the crack epidemic of the 80s and 90s on America's streets. Yes, distract from that record. And oh, by the way, the all-time record for most evacuated embassies during any presidency, 4 or 8 years. That's Joe Biden's record. You have Hamas launching the worst terror attack in Israel's history on Biden's watch. You had Putin invading Ukraine on Biden's watch, despite his firm warnings for Putin not to. On every conceivable measure, by every conceivable metric, the Biden-Harris presidency has been a failure. In that sense, I think Harris, as one of the architects of that failure, has an incredibly steep hill to climb this election. And we will be here to document every single second of it. The Dan O'Donnell Show returns 9 a.m. tomorrow.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is